So, implementing an inventory of learning styles really begins with understanding what a student's learning style is. Now, when you're talking about a group of students or in a classroom, you need to really cater to all of these styles. But if you can identify the one style and you're working one on one with students, then you really need to adapt your teaching method so that you can better suit the learner's needs. But let's look at some best practices for each of these learning styles. With the meaning directed learners, these are those that are motivated by curiosity. They really want to learn. They're usually your star students. They're going to want you to encourage inquiry. You want to do critical thinking, use a lot of open ended projects, open ended questions. You want to give them opportunities to really figure out and to be able to apply what they've learned. They like reflection, debate, and connection and flexibility because they really want to explore for themselves and make connections with what they want to do. However, they also do not like rote memorization or surface level facts because they really want a deeper understanding. So don't discourage those questions or critical discussions that are going to deepen that understanding because this is what's important to them. You also want to refrain from those really rigid lesson plans that are going to limit creativity and exploration. Now, application directed learners are those that really focus on the practical use and a real world relevance. They like hands on activities, experiences, and experiments. You might like one to try some field trips for them or challenge them to figure out how they could implement what you're teaching them. So you could provide them with real world case studies and then get out there and tell them, what other real world case studies do you see? You want them to see that what they're learning in the classroom connects to what they do or what they're going to do. They also love problem solving and project based learning. So, what you don't want to do, don't really avoid that practical or that abstract theory without giving them practical examples. They need the theory, but they need to understand how to apply it. Don't rely solely on textbooks, and you really want to give them or challenge them the opportunity to really jump in and apply their knowledge. Don't limit them in that way. Next, we have reproduction directed learners. Remember, these are the ones that like the structure, the repetition, and the clear expectations. So, what do you do if you're in a classroom that you have both of these types of learners? Well, very simply, what you're going to do is you're going to, once you figured out who doesn't need those directions, those application and meaning directed learners, then you can set them off on their own. And then you can work longer with the reproduction directed learners or those undefined learners. So these are learners, again, that like the structure, the repetition, and the clear expectations. They want instructions, notes, study guides, textbooks, quizzes, reviews. They like the step by step learning sequences, and they like clear feedback and reassurance on their progress. What you don't want to do is open into tasks without too much guidance or criteria. They're going to feel overwhelmed by unstructured group projects, and they're going to refrain from sudden changes in expectations. So, what we really want to do for these students here is to spend more time with them and give them more direction. Next is our undirected learners. These are learners who are just uncertain. They don't know about their learning process, they don't understand themselves, and they benefit from guidance and confidence building. So, what can you do? Teach some foundational study skills, time management, goal setting. You want to give them feedback and encouragement, build confidence, and create a supportive environment that fosters self assessment and reflection. Remember, the idea is we want to move them into one of these other areas. We want them to really be able to understand. Now, what do you not do? Avoid assume that they have a lack of motivation. They don't have a lack of motivation. What they really need is direction. They just don't understand themselves yet. So don't leave them without structure or scaffolding, and also refrain comparing them to other people and especially their peers. So, using this, we want to also look and remember that there are so many benefits. It encourages educators to take a learner centered approach, which is essential for personalized instruction and engaging students at all level. Next, it promotes the development of self regulation skills. So, as students become more aware of their own preferences, they're now encouraged to adopt strategies that will align with their strengths. And lastly, understanding the different learning styles was going to help them to create a supportive and inclusive classroom environment. And as students recognize that their peers may have unique ways of approaching the same material.